So, are you ready to dive into the future of manufacturing? Because, wow, the stuff you sent us about smart factories is blowing my mind, especially what 4Geeks is doing with that cloud-based IoT stuff.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it?
It's like we're stepping straight into a sci-fi movie, except instead of spaceships, we've got factories, like, thinking for themselves.
It really is like something out of a movie. We're talking about a whole new era in manufacturing, what they're calling Industry 4.0.
Okay, Industry 4.0, I like the sound of that. But be honest, for those of us who don't speak fluent tech, what does that even mean?
Well, in a nutshell, it's basically connecting like everything in the factory through, the Internet of Things.
With the IoT?
Right, exactly. So we're talking about sensors, machines, entire systems all talking to each other,
Yeah.
but like in real time. And that's what makes all the difference. This constant flow of data, that's what gives us this whole other level of efficiency and control that we've never really seen before, actually.
And that's where our friends at 4Geeks come in. They're kind of like the brains behind the whole operation.
Yeah, you could say that. See, 4Geeks, they specialize in this cloud-based IoT solution. So they take all that data from the factory floor and everything, and they actually use it to create get this, a digital twin of the entire operation.
Hold on, a digital twin. What is that? Some kind of like virtual voodoo doll for factories.
Okay, not quite. Think of it more like a virtual replica, but
Yeah.
of the factory. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
constantly being updated with real-time data. And this is what allows businesses to keep an eye on everything that's going on, monitor every single aspect of their production, and they can do it all remotely from anywhere in the world.
That's incredible. But okay, I have to ask, why is this such a big deal? Why should anyone really care about smart factories?
Well, for starters, the smart factory market it's exploding right now. We're talking about a projected, get this, $137 billion market by 2025.
Wow.
That's a lot of money. And it's not just some fad either. This is a whole fundamental shift in how we make things, how we manufacture things.
It's safe to say this technology it's here to stay,
It's
right?
not going anywhere.
Okay, but what about the benefits? Like what's actually driving this massive growth?
Right. So imagine a world where factories can just like predict and prevent problems before they even happen.
Okay.
Or how about this? Factories that can adjust production instantly, to meet changing demands in real time.
Okay, yeah. I do remember reading about some pretty cool benefits in the articles you sent. Something about optimized production and was it predictive maintenance? Something like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Smart factories are all about like squeezing every ounce of efficiency out of the process
Yeah.
and, of course, keeping things running smoothly, you know, less downtime.
Right.
Like one of the sources you sent, it talked about this bottling plant,
Yeah.
and they were using 4Geeks platform. And get this, they're monitoring temperature, pressure, and, the actual bottling speed all at the same time.
Seriously?
And the second something's even a little bit off, boom, they know about it, and they can take care of it. No more, scrambling around trying to figure out what went wrong.
So no more like surprise breakdowns or production bottlenecks. That sounds like a dream come true for most businesses.
It's a total game changer. But it goes beyond just being super efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Smart factories can also handle things like, keeping an eye on quality control and making things more energy efficient.
Right.
They can even help companies be more, sustainable.
Which I know is something you're really passionate about.
It's so important these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's great that this technology can actually contribute to that.
It really is amazing. Smart factories aren't just good for business then, they're good for the planet too. This is fascinating stuff. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I think we need to take a closer look at how 4Geeks actually makes all of this possible. I mean, they're clearly doing something different in the smart factory world. So what makes their approach so unique?
Well, a lot of companies out there, they're really focused on these huge, complex systems.
Uh,
The kind that only like mega corporations can afford.
right.
And that can be a real barrier for smaller businesses. I mean, who wants to like rip out their entire factory and start from scratch?
Yeah, that's not really an option for most companies.
Exactly. And 4Geeks gets that. They
Yeah.
really understand that, every business is different
Mm.
and they have different needs. So they design their platform to be really modular.
Modular, so kind of like building blocks.
Exactly. You got it.
Right.
Like think Legos, right? You can start with like a small, simple structure.
Okay.
And then you can add more and more blocks as you need them to make it bigger, more complex.
So a company could like start with one part of their operation, like say they just want to optimize one production line,
Right.
and then over time they could scale it up to their whole factory.
That's the idea. You got it. Let's
Yeah.
businesses kind of like dip their toes in the water, before they jump all the way in.
That makes a lot of sense. Start small, see the benefits, and then scale up at your own pace.
Exactly. No huge upfront investments, no major disruptions, just like smart strategic implementation.
I like it. Okay, but let's get back to those benefits for a minute, because I have to say, the whole predictive maintenance thing, that really blew my mind.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
So how does that actually work in practice?
So picture this, your car, right? But it can tell you it needs an oil change before, like, that little warning light even comes on.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Right. No more like, oh no, what's that noise? It's all about staying ahead of the game.
I like the way they think.
And that's pretty much what 4Geeks does for factories. They have all these sensors everywhere, and they're constantly monitoring all the equipment.
Okay, so they're like listening to the machines.
Yeah, kind of. They're tracking things like temperature, vibration, even like how much energy each machine is using.
Wow.
And the cool part is they take all that data and they compare it to like historical patterns so they can see when something starts to drift outside of the normal range.
And that tells them that a machine is about to go haywire.
Exactly. They can spot those little red flags early on.
Yeah.
It's way before it turns into a major problem.
So no more like emergency repairs or production lines grinding to a halt.
Ideally, no.
Yeah.
And less downtime means more productivity, right?
Music to any business owner's ears. It seems like this technology could really benefit any industry, right?
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. What business doesn't want to avoid downtime and keep things running smoothly?
It's true. It's a no-brainer.
And it's not just about keeping things running either. Smart factories are also really good at like making sure everything is top quality.
Oh, right. Quality control. One of the articles you sent, it mentioned how some car factories are using sensors to measure like the thickness of paint on cars and the quality of welds and things like that.
And they can measure it down to like a fraction of a millimeter.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy precise. And because they're monitoring everything in real time, they can catch any little imperfections right away, before they become big problems.
So less waste, happier customers, more efficient operations. It's win-win-win.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm convinced. Smart factories are the future. But I do want to circle back to something we talked about earlier, the sustainability angle, because it seems like there's a bigger story there. So smart factories, sustainability, there's definitely a connection there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not just about making things faster and cheaper these days, right? Smart factories are being designed from the ground up with sustainability in mind.
Okay, now you've got my attention. How, though? How are they actually doing that?
Well, for one thing, remember all that energy we were talking about earlier? All those energy savings from optimized processes, reduced waste, all that.
Yeah.
Smart factories use way less energy than traditional factories.
Okay, that makes sense.
Some estimates I've seen, they say it could be as much as 40% less energy.
Wow, 40%. That's huge. And less energy obviously means a smaller carbon footprint, which is always a good thing. But are there other ways smart factories can contribute to, a greener future?
Oh, totally. Think about like localized manufacturing.
Okay.
Since smart factories can be set up pretty much anywhere, businesses can manufacture their products closer to where their customers actually are.
Ah, that's smart. Less reliance on global shipping routes and all that.
Yeah. Exactly. Less transportation, fewer emissions, it all adds up. And it's not just about reducing the negative impacts either. Smart factories can actually have a positive impact too.
Oh, really? How so?
They can use things like what they call closed-loop manufacturing processes.
Closed-loop manufacturing? I'm not sure I've heard of that. What is that exactly?
Basically, it's all about reusing and recycling as much as possible, right, within the production process.
Okay.
So waste products, instead of them ending up in a landfill, they're captured, and they're actually reintroduced back into the system.
Wow, so they're basically recycling their own waste. That's amazing. It sounds like smart factories have the potential to revolutionize not just how we manufacture things, but like our whole approach to sustainability.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best part is we're really just getting started, This technology is still evolving so fast.
So who knows what the future holds?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's definitely exciting to think about.
It really is. It feels like we're on the verge of something big, It's a far cry from those old, like, dirty, dangerous factories of the past, right?
Night and day. Smart factories, they're cleaner, they're safer, and they're way more efficient. And they're even creating new opportunities in fields like, data analytics, software development.
So it's not just about robots replacing human workers then. It's about humans and technology kind of coming together to work in a smarter way.
Totally. It's a partnership.
And I have a feeling that as this technology becomes even more accessible, we're going to see a massive wave of new innovation across every industry imaginable.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless. It's going to be incredible to see what people come up with.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive into the fascinating world of smart factories. But before we go, I want to leave you with this thought. Imagine a world where you can get any product you want, made exactly to your specifications, with almost zero waste and incredible speed and efficiency. That's the future 4Geeks is working towards, a future where technology and sustainability work together to create a better world. So, here's my question for you. What role will you play in building this exciting new future?